Alright, now I should be going. I think I was talking to myself there for a little bit. They got a whole new setup going, so my first iteration at trying to get this thing running. Okay, Jay Watt just copied your no, but I think you're going to pick me up here in a second. So hopefully we get it working. It's a completely different way to do your videos or do your chats or podcast or stream or whatever you call it. Let me see. Okay, all right. Jay Watt can see me. I assume you can see me if you can hear me. So just a quick for one, I wanted to learn the new system, which is quite tedious. I thought. I was surprised at how difficult that was. I got started a little late here, but at least Jay Watt's out there. So the topic of the chat, which I was going to make into a video, and I didn't think the video would do it justice because I just don't have the time to put together all the pictures and slides and graphics that would do it justice. But I at least wanted to get something out there and just put some thoughts out there and discuss a little bit. So point of no return, and it goes along with people's thought process during this election period about how they're going to save America and they're going to save the United States and save all this and that, and I just don't think that that's possible. And I got three main reasons that I believe that, and I think they're pretty easily factually backed up. And one of those would be the debt, 19 trillion. There's no coming back from that. There is no physical way to ever work out of that. So we can't restore America with that. You can discuss changing our monetary system, but a lot of things would be destroyed along the way as far as prosperity. The banking system makes up X number of trillions of dollars. Of course, it's all fictional, fake dollars, I guess you'd say. But that has a severe impact on the economy. Think of all the people employed by the banking system that would collapse if you just, in an effort to restore what once was, if you took the banking system back to what it should be, you get a lot of bankers and stockbrokers out of work, and that's massive unemployment, and that causes massive unrest and chaos. You wouldn't get the United States out of the results of that. You'd get something a lot different. So trying to get out of the $19 trillion in debt, which will soon be $20 trillion before the next election, you're, what's it going to be before the as Mule says, if we even have the 2016 elections, but if we have 2020 elections, what will be up to? 26 trillion? It's going exponentially higher. So as that goes up in that exponential fashion, how do you get out of that? You can't. And so that's one reason that America's never going back to what it was, or potentially could be. There's no return to a constitutional republic in that scenario. So the debt and our financial system as a whole that lives off of that would collapse. That would collapse as a part of that. Is probably reason number one in my mind, but a major reason, I think. So just to think everybody's hearing me here, I got Quasar and Jay Watt out there, and they're responding somewhat, so it looks like you can hear me. Let me pause for a second for effect. So it's good to have you guys out there and hearing me apparently. So Um, reason number one is that that debt that lingers over us and um, ties us down and binds us to this current system. Which, if we don't get out of this current system, you're not changing anything. Let me see if how I can do invites on this for anybody that might want to join, since it is a new system. If I even can. It's a whole different setup. I don't even know if I can do invites in here. I wanted to get some people in here, but I'm having a hard time figuring that out. But it looks like we're going good. We're 5 minutes in. Yeah, I can't see a way to invite people. Anybody comment know how to do this newfangled thing? Because I can't. Okay, I got all kinds of screens and things doing stuff. So I guess I'll just move through it. I was want to max this out in an hour. I don't think I would go past farther than that, and that was with me hopefully having somebody else on here. So we shall see. All right, but so that reason number one. Number two, I think, is you can already see the division in the country. Hey, Mule, do you know how to get invites into here? It's a whole new setup, and I don't even see a way to send out an invite or send out a link to get anybody in here. So I don't know what I'm on or how it's different, because I went in through the YouTube page, not through Google Plus. So it's a whole thing. So Mule, what link do I send you? That's what I just but maybe I can figure it out here. But number two is the division that's already present, and is there any repairing of that? I mean, you have probably 3% on a liberty and freedom mindset, willing to fight and die for it, and you probably have 3% that are willing to die for the communist ideals, and then you have probably 50% of the population that is easily swayed by anything that goes on, as long as they don't really care, as long as they've got their iPad and iPod out there. And then you got the different factions in between who will constantly argue and bicker over anything as long as the DRR wins. There's a lot less reconciliation between political groups, racial division, and everything else. People are pretty set in their sides. I don't see a lot of reconciliation or people deciding to get along, or people deciding to see somebody else's viewpoint and go along to get along. And when it comes to the far fringes of those things, people are, they're just not going to go that way. People aren't going to give up what they see as privilege or freedoms or liberties, depending on which side you're on, for somebody else's political agenda. It's coming to the point now where there's no room to give, and that goes for all sides and the way they see it. And eventually, that's going to come to blows. And if it does come to blows, just like if you pull out all the banking system out, if it does come to blows, you're not going to return to an America of the past, or of what we would see as a return to a constitutional republic. Quasar thinks straight up correct on that comment. Yeah, Link. I'm sure I could send it to you on Facebook, but I wouldn't. Where do I pull the link from? I don't have anything to copy and paste to send you that I can find. But yes, Quasar, I think you're right. There are people that are still stuck up the different parties' collective hindquarters. And what's up, Andy? I wonder if it's as cold as up there as it is here. It's been about 28 all day. Now we're getting down into about 12-degree territory. Thus the beanie. But I hear the East Coast has been downright balmy and warm. But hopefully you got some snow. You're going to need it just as much as we do. The header. The header. So as we were saying, there's two primary reasons that we're not getting out of this or returning to anything resembling what we consider America. Andy, it's time for past your bedtime anyway, old man. And you know what, Mule? I may have opened this up in a way that you may have not done in the past either. I don't know. I just went into YouTube and went in through the no process. So I don't know what you and Reb been doing, but I don't think I'm on the same program. The header of the tab. My goodness. Just the tab where I watch all the analytics, because that's the only tab I'm in. What's up, Tony? How's your day been down there? I know it's been cold. It's probably colder in Vegas than it is in New Hampshire, I bet. It's been that kind of Christmas season, I think. Alright, Mule, I'm going to send you something. I don't know if it's going to work, but it'll be better than nothing. We'll see if, real quick, try to send a couple people in here to get in here and get some positive or negative feedback. But really, the division has got people to where there is no... People want their side to win. They don't care about any of the, go on to get along, freedom, everybody live free. They want their agenda and they want to impose their will on other people. There's a lot of that mentality going on, and I don't know that it's the only way to come out of it is people are ready to fight. I mean, you can already, in a lot of respects, you already see full-on open rebellion in the United States. There's very little, what's the word for it? Discussion about finding common ground. Protests are abounding. And really, you got to think that there should be. The only thing that, states are starting to come around. Certain political structures in states with legislatures and governors and stuff are starting to resist federal mandates, federal decrees, federal imposition, and nullify, for the using the old term, or resist what the feds are doing. And again, the fact that goes back to, that would be a future of we wouldn't have the same America come out of the end of that. Probably would look like nothing like America and what we have. And it looks like my stream went bad on me by my comment. 1 second here. Try to fix fix my connection. Looks like I went bad. Unless you can still hear me, let me know. Yeah, there's not a web address from the header box the same as it was before. This new process has you in a whole different window that is not the same because you're using a different system to feed the video. I don't know how to explain it other than that unless you've done it. So there's not a link to copy in the chat box. I'm not in the same. Maybe I screwed it up when I started it. I think I went through their new process and probably messed it up to where you can't have people participate, and I might just be streaming here separate. The OOG version. Let me try this. I don't know if it'll oh. Alright. Alright, Mule, I'm going to try this again. And I'll also try Tony or somebody. So thanks for the suggestions. So you can hear me. That's good. I guess you can see me. Let me see if I sent you another link, Mule, separately. See if that comes. See if that works. I don't know. So we got Insomniac in the chat room, Saints and Sappers, and yeah, exactly, Saints. That's what this whole chat was about. You're never going to see the old America again, and people need to wake up to that fact, I think. And I think what I was trying to highlight here is you got to give people the big three reasons of why that is, because people, they don't have it in their minds that that's possible, or that's even fathom. That doesn't register in their G2, but we got to get people around to that understanding really quick, because I'm closer to Mule's train of thought on 2016 will not be an election year in the traditional sense, at least. There may be something, but it won't be a traditional election. I'm more in that line of thought than I am of, well, we'll go through the election and things will continue on as they have. The invite button. I don't have an invite button, Mule. I've got like 3 screens going. Yeah, man, this is okay. It looks like my stream's back good. So you probably heard me ramble on and off in that part, but Saints and Sappers brought up the point we're never going back to the old America, and that's definitely what it's all about. Yeah, Jay, what we just can't vote ourselves out of this. That's definitely what most people don't understand. As we go into this election season, everybody's ready to vote for their guy to make it better, and they don't even see the problems right in front of them, that it's unfixable. That goes to the first 2 points. So that last link didn't work either, Mule. I'll continue to try to endeavor to persevere here. But with the divided nature, when you see things of with the different opinions of the police state, education, vaccinations, that you get on that subject alone, people lose their mind. They're ready to put people in jail and execute them for not getting their kids vaccinated. Things like that. And all it's going to take is one incident within one of those groups to divide America even further. So in that respect, it's just like the first Civil War. America will be easily divided in a large incident, because people will instantly have been trained and have been indoctrinated recently to immediately take sides. You got to choose left or right. You can't choose. There is no middle ground. You can't choose a different path. You have to be either. It's like they said back in '03. You're either with us or against us. And that train of thought has caused a lot of the problems, where people don't realize that the left and right are the problem, and we need a third solution, or third option, as the third option would say, which I think is what his tag name referred to. But there is a third option out there, and very few are choosing to take it. And the rest of us who see that option are really having a problem navigating that path, I think, in between. So let me go back into the chat room. Don't go to Wisconsin. Okay, I'll take your word for that one. Don't go to jail in Wisconsin. Yeah. Good point, Saints and Sappers. They've pretty much sold everything off, of any value. But it will take decades before that even comes about. Potentially, but it also could happen relatively quickly, depending on the event that happens. What do you mean by voting Mad Magazine style, Tony? I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I guess we could say it's all one big joke. Yeah, there is not a invite tab on here at all. And I look at the man, this just sucks. Should be able to have a invite button of some sort, you'd think. When they redid this, they really messed me up. So sorry, Mule, Tony, I got your hopes up. I know. But between the political division and between people, just region of the countries and cultural differences are getting more pronounced too. I mean, it's not just city and urban and rural, but people and the way they live in the different states, that people have an expectation that you're going to live like them, instead of, again, letting people be free in what they do, which only leads to more division and The biggest problem is people aren't uniting against the dividers and the federal government. They're uniting separately from each other in support of the federal government, in support of a central government. That's our that's our problem. People are failing to see the problem of the that the central government is the problem. Yeah, yeah, Quasar, that takes on a whole new meaning now. So the third option is change his name to the Liberty Factor. For those that don't know, who I was referring to earlier, he's in the chat. Good to see him. Silver Siren, good to see you. And you're well experienced in these hangouts. And I realized that this is the first hangout I've done in the new system, and it is beyond. Just to get it set up took me a minute, and I was delayed, and then I can't find a way to invite other people in. So, as Quasar said, I'm freeballing it. So until I guess next time around, let's set it up a different way, because I would like to have an invite out there to get people's comments. Because really, what I'd like to see is, how do we get this message across to people who aren't on board yet, who don't see the train coming? They still think that the elections will solve it, that the elections can help us in this process, that we can go back to the old America, make America great again. There's the tagline of one individual who will not be named because Tony's already stumping for him already. But as long as people are making that comment, and you got this mythical 40% out there that are supporting that cause, what do you say to them to make them understand that that's not possible? It's never going to happen. It's a fallacy. Yeah, it's a logical fallacy that you think you can ever go back to 1950 to the closest we're going to get is 1861, in my opinion. And if you look at the evidence of financial, cultural, political, all the division points are there to split this thing up. And I've kind of advocated that for a while. That's what it should be. We should divide up into about 5 or 6 different republics, or what would probably end up being 3 republics and 2 dictatorships and some of that nature, because the divisions are so great that it's not sustainable in this current form with in our current system of centralized government. At least we're not going to put up with it much longer, I don't think. I got a different link here, Mule and Tony, I'm going to send you to see if that works out for you. So, you know, I've been engaged in the political process, I guess you'd say, ongoing, and I've re-engaged here for this primary season. We have caucuses out here, so I actually like it a lot more out here, because you really do get more hands-on with people and more face-to-face to explain your position. You know, what you think is the right way to go, and what you think is going on and the problems are. So again, I sent you another link, Tony or Mule. Let me know if that, well, I guess I'll find out if it works if you can link in. So let's go back into the chat room while I'm waiting to see if that has any results. But yeah, mainstream propaganda, the propaganda machine is pretty great, Nick. You are right there. And it's like we've talked about oftentimes in the Dragon, people have to feel some pain. You say feel the blow for them to listen, but I think what you mean is they're going to have to feel some personal pain, have some personal consequence. And how do you wake them all? Insomniac, yes. And well, you're always awake, obviously, but yeah, that's a challenge because I meet people, there, and it's a total mystery sometimes on how people pick the candidate that they pick, that they've pulled out of. I mean, you have people supporting Jeb Bush, you have people supporting Mike Huckabee, people supporting obviously Trump, which haven't very many few in person, but I hear them on the internet a lot. But here locally, people that I meet in meetings and stuff. And you can make some linkages with like Huckabee, okay, conservative Christian type. They believe in basically a theocracy. How do you address that? There's different ways to address different people, but they're so far into that narrow mindset of that's what their position is. That one, it's like a Second Amendment voter. That's the only thing they vote on is the Second Amendment. They are sometimes much harder to get to than anybody else because they're so narrowly focused. Nothing else matters. You tell them Cruz supports the Second Amendment, they don't care. They don't care. They really don't. The third option guy was a poser. I don't know. The third option guy was pretty smart. I don't know. Tony says Hillary's husband is black. I thought he was the first black president, not just black. Yeah. It's I don't know if candidates are a problem or the populace is the problem. Again, doesn't matter who the candidates are. If the populace outright reject them, it wouldn't matter. People think they have to vote one or the other. They don't realize there is that third option. I think that goes back to withdrawing consent. People don't understand that you can withdraw consent. Not voting is one way, but you still give them the power because they still have 30% of the population convinced they still have to vote. But you have to go out. I think if the 60% that don't vote went out and voted third party or write-in or something else, at least it would show there were numbers out there, I think. But that's a different discussion. That's talking about solutions. But even if we did, we get, the one candidate, again, we're not going back to the old America, are we? People like to point out that you hear the political division of Obama's going to take our guns, so-and-so is going to do this, Bush is going to take away women's rights. No, the problem is that what the problem is that the federal government has that power to begin with. There is some minion, there's some person that is going to actually come to somebody's door, or they're going to enact a decree, or they're going to find a way to tax and to get people's rights taken away from them. It's not the idiot politicians stand up or saying things we got to worry about. It's actually the person who claims to be an American who's going to come and take those things away. We really need better Americans. If we had better Americans, I think the politician candidate thing would solve itself. It's the people that are willing to go out and work for those things and willing to continue to collect a paycheck to do the things they're doing. Because how many people in the DEA or BATAF, FBI, the Department of Justice changed jobs in the last 8 years? How many people are different? Maybe the top head guy, but that means everybody else underneath is just willing to just do their jobs and just take orders, which is not good. That's not American. Just taking orders is not going to change us. It's not going to get us back to where we were. So again, there is no going back. But again, engaging people in the current process and getting them to understand that voting for Trump is not going to make America great again. It's not going to take us back to 1950s America. How do we engage with people locally enough to let them understand that, hey, things are bad, this is where we're not going back, and this is what we need to do about it. And we'll deal with solutions on another day, I guess. But really, getting people to understand that there's big reasons out there why things aren't going to go back to the way they were. And I'm sure you can probably think about ways to talk about people yourself, and that's really what I always try to do is, hey, what can you do in your circle and group of and people you influence or friends or whatever you want to call them, acquaintances, to get them to understand, because it's a challenge because people automatically assume that you are on the opposite side of them. If you bring up anything negative of what they believe, they automatically assume you're either a Republican or Democrat if you bring up something opposite. Instead of understand, again, there is that third different lane, the lane away from central government, away from consent of overbearing central authority, which is the path we're directly headed down. And if we don't go to a central all-powerful authority, we go to division and the breakup, which is definitely different. Oh, you are in the third is an assignment in Estonia. I knew it. So, see you back out in the chat room. Like Mule says, most people don't understand nor want freedom. They just want to be told what to do and who to like and who to vote for. Well, not only that, they just want to be happy, and they're content with just the 9 to 5, and they're content with living in the suburbs and everything being okay. That's what they think. Yeah, the idea of America is definitely more important than the name. I think you definitely got a point there, Insomniac. People need to... it's the idea of America is important. It doesn't matter if the political structure survives or not. If the idea of that freedom and liberty, that, again, America, when it first started with the Declaration and the Constitution, it wasn't like perfect at that time, but it was a process in place to make things better. People always deride the Constitution as not being perfect. It was never intended. The men made it and they knew they weren't perfect, but it was intended for future generations to be able to develop it, make the necessary amendments to make it better. But instead, we chose to stay divided, and then you had the Civil War, which led to increased tyranny, and so on and so forth, pain and suffering, instead of doing the right things and using the Constitution as a tool to improve things. I think it's one of the things we don't think about is, I think the Constitution was the end-all be-all, but it was a method to improve upon. They had just broken away from the most powerful tyrannical government on earth. They couldn't foresee at their time of a perfect, system of liberty, but they tried and put something in place that could be improved. So what else we got in the chat? You have to be careful what you say to people. Well, if you're talking about who else they might tell after you say something to them, I guess you could say, yeah, that's true. But Trump is in the race purely and ensure Hillary wins. I'm almost 90% convinced of that. I mean, he's been pals with him and donated millions of dollars to different causes for them, so it only makes sense. Yeah, people don't want to necessarily take personal responsibility for their own safety or security, Mule. Oh, I guess Saints and Sappers, I guess the Arkansas mafioso was Billary you're talking about. Jay, I don't think we'd still be on topic if this was a drunk chat. We'd be off the rails already. Now, I mean, and Nick, I know what you're saying. It would take somebody like Ron Paul to bring the old America, but I don't think even then, one person can't do it, and the things that are already in place, if that person did become in charge, would necessitate a collapse, a division. If Ron Paul was to become president and we were to restrict the budget, restrict spending like it is, the financial system collapses, the banks collapse. That's trillions of dollars gone out of the economy. You're talking massive upheaval. I mean, that's really what has to happen. It's a reset. It wouldn't be fun, but that's what has to happen for there to be a freedom from that system, which is a good thing. But it would necessitate the breakup of the United States It would there would be great division. States would secede. California would probably go its own way. It'd be pretty ugly, I think. But that's one person doing what they think is right. It's kind of the opposite of if we get this Trump thing going, is he really going to be able to follow through on anything he says? Build a wall for Mexico and have Mexico pay for it? Seriously, who believes that type of storyline? And that's again the people we're talking about. How do we explain to them? Not only that's irrational, it doesn't make sense, it's not possible, but that's only a small symptom of the bigger problem. And why would anybody want to vote for Monica Lewinsky's boyfriend's wife is a good question. And finally, their third option, you're correct. The majority will happily live in peaceful slavery, which is the way we've progressed for the last, over 100 years, you'd say. We've progressed in that line of thought because the prosperity came to America. Again, eventually faith runs out of the dollar and the financial system, which has propped up that peaceful slavery we're currently involved in. And then it's all downhill. What actions are taken, that's where tyrants breed. Hitler came to power in the same type of situation. And another tyrant will come in a similar situation if we have a great upheaval of the financial system, another depression, which, depending on how you look at it, we're probably right on the verge of. Another Trump-like Hitler is coming up, and that seems to be what they're begging for. I mean, they begged for Obama, and look what they got. So, well, you say that's what we need, Nick, but I think really what we need is the people to take their power back. People need to take their own responsibility and their own, security seriously. Take back their responsibilities of free men and institute that at their local area and their states, and have the states withdraw their consent to what the central government does. That's what we need. That's really what can make it happen in a more peaceful way, I think. Because if the change is instituted from on high, I think it causes a lot more violent revolution, potentially. But South Carolina said they were going to go their way, but then you have the tyrant Lincoln come down and start the war. So, what do I know? It depends on how you look at it. But a lot of, false idol, false savior. Yeah, just like Obama was a false idol. Trump is similar, and so is several of the others probably. A couple of them might have good intentions to try their best, but they're still not on the right track ideologically. And Tony's having technical problems because of Google Plus. That figures. Yeah, Mule, that you say that's what makes the real 3% a rare breed. And like I don't know if you caught it at the beginning. We say we have the 3% on the liberty side. I think unfortunately what we have to remember is we also have 3% on the opposite side that will fight for the state no matter what to the end, because of things that get thrown in front of them, like a flag and an ideal of the central state. That there's another 3% that we have to be worried about and concerned about. So I think I've gotten far enough off topic. I'm glad everybody hanging in there with me. I tried to get figured out with this new system, which I haven't entirely figured out, and I haven't found a link. So sorry about that. That you had to endure my ramblings, but I did want to do a chat about it or talk about it because, like I said, I couldn't do a video to put justice to it with cool pictures and graphs and everything. And there's definitely a long line of thought you could go into it, but I think that's a big thing we have to do, is get around to people that there are three, you can, I call it the big three reasons we're never going back. You can make your own, I guess, and really, depending on who you're talking to, if you know your audience, you can give them, find out what their interests are, what their priorities are, to give them an example of, hey, we're not going back to that old America. The republic is gone. We're not getting back to a constitutional republic as far as the way we envision it with all 50 states or 48 states or some combination thereof. It's going to be a complete remake. And really, getting back to that's not what's important, but protecting your liberty and your freedom to do what the ideals of that old republic are. The ideals are more important than the structure. So thanks everybody for coming out. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I'll try to figure out on another way to, maybe I can talk to Rebel or somebody, and he can walk me through how to even get somebody actually else in this chat with me instead of going on. So let's see what else we got in the chat. Don't see anybody new, but lots of good chats, discussion going on. Do you want me to start a drag? Nah, that's on you, Mu. I'm probably going to check out. I only wanted to do an hour anyway, with somebody else coming in, so I'm good. Mule, you think the other side's more like 20% than 3? Well, I don't think 20% of them are willing to die, are willing to fight. I think 20% of them ideologically think that taking people's stuff and forcing them to do things is a good thing. I think you're probably right about the numbers there, but as far as fighting and dying for it, I don't think 20% of them are on that. That's you're talking what, 60 million people? I don't think there's 60 million people on the other side willing to get out there in the street and throw down for it. Hey, G Mangoes. Hey, what's up? I haven't talked to you in a minute. Man, I haven't seen you in forever either. Good to see you out and about. I'm sure you had were you in Christmas in the Bahamas or Jamaica or something? So good to catch up. But I'll shut it down if I can figure it out, because that's even different. So I'll probably just turn everything off and see how it goes. But thanks everybody for coming out, checking out this video. It'll be on, I think it links up and it'll be here for review later, as a regular video. So that's all. Y'all have a good night. Live free.